This conference will now be recorded.
So for analyzing an algorithm, there are various types, guys. So directly you can analyze by finding the equation of it and taking higher degree of polynomial as your expression. This is one method we have seen. And these are the different notation available. You'll be getting any one of the notation in this particular range. And this range of value can be substituted in either omega or theta or by using big O notation. The most commonly used will be big O notation. And we have seen what is the order of this particular notation to mention. What is the efficient one, and what is the worst case we have seen. The best case will have order of 1. The worst case will be given for your the factorial. This is what we have seen. Apart from this, there is one more method we have seen. That is nothing but I can able to find the analysis of a program by using tracing tree. The one method is by finding the expression and doing polynomial. The other is by using tracing tree. Even yesterday also for this program, Fibonacci program, we have seen about tracing tree, how to do it, right? So tracing tree is very simple. I guess you people could remember this program. The day before yesterday, we have seen about it, which is nothing but we are supposed to pass a number. If at all the number is greater than 0, I'll print the number. Again, I'm going to call the function again, which is nothing but recursion. Okay. If at all you're going to implement by using tracing tree, even tracing tree also you have completed. We'll be tracing such a way where if at all your test value is 3 in the sense, what happened? Initially 3 will be printed, then test minus 1 is called. So 2 will be again called. The function will be called with the value 2 again. So 2 will be printed, again 2 minus 1. 1 will be called, again 1 is going to be printed, again you'll be getting a value. Test of 0, for test of 0, your loop is going to be terminated. This is what we have seen. So how to calculate the efficiency of this tree? That is nothing but how many number of times this particular tree has recurs. You are supposed to find it out. You can notice that if at all my n value is 3, how many times this particular tree has been called, which is nothing but 4 times. If my n value is passed as 4, this particular recursion might have happened 5 times. That is nothing but your f of n is nothing but given n plus 1 times is your number of recursion happen. So I can take simply as big O of n as a notation. Till this we have completed already, which is nothing but tracing tree. Okay, and the same analysis can be done by using recursive algorithm. Guys, I'm not going to go much into recursive algorithm since it will be of completely a mathematical notation. Just I'll give you 2 examples for it. You should be aware of it. What is recursive algorithm also? So there are 3 different methods for finding the order of it. So the first method what we have seen it directly in the expression I can able to find it out, and the next method is I can find it out by using tracing tree, and the next method is we can find it out by using trace recursive algorithm, or directly you can mention as by using recursive algorithm we can find it out. For the same program we are going to write recursive algorithm. Guys, it is very simple. Don't panic if I told you that since it is a mathematical notation, it is very simple only. Just listen carefully. Okay. So let me take the same scenario. For this program, we people are going to generate a recursive algorithm. We'll see how to generate it. So what is f of n here? My f of n is given as n plus 1. This is f of n. So now I'm going to calculate what is the time required for this algorithm. So you can notice that the time calculation here is, let me write aside. Just a minute, guys. Here, since I use this interpreter, tab is not working. So we are going to calculate what is the t of n required. Okay, time required for executing this algorithm. So let me go sequentially. So what happened for executing this one line? How many unit of time is taken? 1 unit of time is taken. For executing this print, how many unit of time is taken? How many times this particular print will be executed? Again, it will also be executed 1 unit of time. So how many times this particular recursive is going to happen for each and every time. This is going to execute t of n minus 1 time. Right, for each and every time it is going to call t of n minus 1 time. So this is the time we are supposed to calculate it. Now finding the overall summation of it. We can omit this one as usual. We can omit the function definition part, is not required. So what happened? You'll be getting t of n minus 1. You'll be getting constant value as plus 2, right? So 2 statement. So just instead of writing plus 2, you can write plus 1. It's not going to make you big difference. The reason is everything is a constant value, right? Even 1, 2, 3, all those things are constant value. It's not going to make much difference. So this expression can be assumed as, where you can assume this expression as, just for your assumption. It is not required to make use of 2. If it is of 1, it will be easy for you to calculate it. It's not going to make difference there. It's just a constant value. So you can make that plus 1 as your expression. So what is the time unit of time required for doing this particular program? It will take t of n minus 1 plus 1 is the time calculation I did. Now let us form the recursive equation. We are supposed to form the recursive algorithm. For that, let me form the recursive equation, which is nothing but I'm going to calculate t of n. For t of n, I'm going to take 2 scenarios here. Actually, this statement will be given in a big braces, curly braces. I'll give it as two different curly braces, since it is not able to write everything in single curly braces. Okay, here, how many times this particular loop is going to be executed? It is going to execute these many times, right? This is the equation which we formed. T of n minus 1 plus 1. This is the unit of time we have found out. So till when this particular loop will be executed? Until my n value is greater than 0, it's going to execute. Once it reaches less than 0, it's going to terminate. So I can able to form my equation here in this way. When this is my unit of time, and this loop will break when my n value is greater than 0. Okay, and we people will form one more equation. That is nothing but if at all my n value equals to 0, what happens? Nothing is going to happen, right? In this program, nothing is going to happen if at all my n value is equal to 0. So you can't able to form the recursive equation as 0 here. Let me put the constant value 1. Guys, is this clear how we are forming this equation? Guys, we people are supposed to form an equation for it if at all we are going to make use of recursive algorithm. This recursive algorithm is nothing, a very simple. As you find the notation by using recursive algorithm also, I can able to find the what is the order of the particular program. This is also in one of the method which is available. Guys, are you people clear with it how to form this one? What is the equation and when does the loop breaks? If at all my n value is equal to 0, nothing is going to happen. So I form the equation as 1. Till this, are you clear? Come on, respond. Yes.
Why you taken 1, ma'am?
Yeah, I can't put 0, right? So I have made it as 1. 0, 1, everything is going to make a same sense. The constant value is not going to make big difference. So I can't be able to place 0. N value is 0. I can't be able to say 0 operation will be happen. So I mentioned the constant value as 1 there.
If we take 0, ma'am.
It is not possible to assume 0 in an expression. This is a mathematical rule. I can't able to place 0 here. Minimum
Okay.
constant value can be placed only 1.
Okay.
Okay, whenever you find that whenever n value is 0, no operation is going to happen, you can place 1 there. Okay, you're going to assume. Yeah.
Here 1 represents time, no, ma'am.
1 represents
Time.
time complexity. Here,
Yes.
the general rule is you can assume, guys, you can assume whenever no operation, which is nothing but when n value is 0, nothing is going to happen, right? No iteration. So I can't able to place 0 there. Instead of this, we can initialize 1 for whatever the equation you're going to form. This is a general mathematical rule. You can make use of it. Okay, now this is the equation we have formed for time complexity. Now we can able to solve this one. So according to this particular statement, I can take this equation where T of n assign T of n minus 1, just a minute, T of n minus 1 plus 1. T of n minus plus 1. This is the equation we have formed, which is nothing but the amount of t times this particular T of n minus 1 plus 1 times this loop is going to be executed. So this is the equation we are having here. Okay. Now we are going to implement, we are going to what to say, we are going to solve this particular expression to find out big O. So how to solve this one? What are the elements we know from this particular program? That is, let me write here, guys. That is, so I know that T of n is equals to n minus 1 plus 1. So if we want to evaluate this expression, I should know what is the value of T of n minus 1. So just assume you're going to add minus 1 to this expression. Just assume this is your original expression. We people are going to add minus 1 to the existing expression. So what happens? T of n, okay, T of n, you're going to add minus 1 for this expression. You're adding minus 1 along with it. So what happened? Wherever there is n, then minus 1 will be added. So if you're adding minus 1 along with it, what happened? It will become as T of n minus 2 plus 1. Guys, is this clear? A very basics, guys. Just I didn't do anything great here. A very simple operation where my T of n value is given as T of n minus 1 plus 1. So instead of n, I'm replacing n minus 1. Wherever n is there, I'm going to replace n minus 1. So since I want to find what is the value of T of n minus 1, I'm substituting minus 1, n minus 1 wherever T of n is there. So what happened here? Already there is n minus 1. If at all you are substituting n in place of n minus 1, what happened? It will become as n minus 2. Is this clear, guys? Before implementing, just let me know. Is that clear? Clear. Okay, good. Now we are going to substitute this equation with this value. So already we know that T of n is there. Sorry. T of n in place of T of n minus 1. What is the value we got? We got this value, right? So we are going to substitute here and followed by plus 1. So this is the equation, we got it. Okay. So this is for T of, sorry, here this is for this particular T of n minus 1, I have substituted. This is the first equation and I have derived it. In case of T of n minus 1, I have substituted this value. So now I should find T of n minus 2. So what I can do is, again, I can derive this equation where I can add minus 1 to again to the existing equation T of n minus 2. If at all you're adding n minus 1, again what happened? T of n minus 3 plus 1. So what happened? Again you're supposed to substitute value at this point, isn't it? So if at all you're substituting, again your time complexity will change as T of n. Assume here I'm supposed to implement this one. So wherever this T of n minus 2, I will substitute this one, followed by, already plus 1 is there, plus 1 plus 1. Okay, if at all you want, I'll put plus 1 plus 1, or if you want, we can change the expression as T of n minus 1 plus 2. Is that clear? Guys, this particular process is called, okay, back substitution method. Have you heard about this one? Back substitution method. Yes or no? substitute method or index method. I can name it as the indexing method or back substitution method. Have you heard about this? Yes or no?
No, ma'am.
No. Okay. It is nothing but the mathematics, normal mathematics. Once you're in your college also, you will be having, I guess. If you don't, you'll be evaluating your expression. Again, you'll be substituting to the same formula. This particular process is called back substitution method. Okay. So by using this back substitution method, we can able to derive the formula. Again, we can able to substitute back. So we are first, this is the original equation. We are finding n minus 1 as the value. Okay, we are finding n minus 1. What is the value? By implementing minus 1 to it. Okay, again we are implementing the n minus 2 value to the expression. We are evaluating and we are finding out. Again, we got n minus 3. For n minus 3, what could be the value? T of n minus 3. Guys, very simple. Wherever you find n minus 2, again implement value n minus 1 to it. So as we did the first time, okay, only t of n is there. If I want value of t of n minus 1, just add t of wherever t of n is there, add n minus 1 to it. Substitute n minus 1 in place of, just substitute t of n place with t of n minus 1. Wherever n is there, or directly you can say it. That is, you can substitute wherever n is there, you can substitute. You're going to increase minus 1, right? So substitute n minus 1 along with it. Wherever you find n, substitute n minus 1. You can able to find n is there, substitute n minus 1. So what happened? It will become n is there, so it will become as n minus 2. Again substitute n minus 1, become as n minus 3. For the next iteration, again if you are substituting, it will become as n minus 4 plus 1. Okay, now let us put this one. I can stop the iteration. No need of going too long. I guess it is going too lengthy, right? So in place of n minus 3, I'll place this one. This part I'll place this one. Okay, already I'm having plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. So what will become as? It will become as plus 3. Is it 3 or 4? Okay, plus 3. Is this clear so far? Do you have any doubt so far? Come on. Clear. Okay. So once I'm elaborating this expression, which I'm removing this bracket, what happened? This expression will become as t of n minus 4 plus 3 plus 1 will become as 4. So this is the equation I got for n minus 4. So I don't know when this particular loop will be terminated. It depends upon my k value. Whatever it is going to execute k times, right? I'll never define these many times. It's going to execute k times. Okay. So now let us find out the equation behind it. Normally, as we did in the first method. So t of n is equals to here t of here. What is the n I given as? What is the number of times this particular loop might execute? It might execute k number of times. So let me give n minus k. Guys, this is nothing but one time it is executing. Second time it is executing. Third time it is executing. 4 times it is executing. Whenever given value is k, it is going to execute k number of times. Okay. And let me remove this one. Like direct expression. And followed by plus k could be a expression. Is this clear, guys? How do you form this? How do you form this one? We are going to execute k number of times at the end. This expression, instead of n minus 4, k times, in the sense I'll mention n minus k plus this expression, end expression we got. Just implement k towards 4 value. So you'll be getting this expression. Okay. Now we are going to solve this expression. So when does this particular n minus k reaches? What could be this one? When k number of time, if this loop is executing, what happens at the end? Your n value will be reaching to 0, right? The k point is nothing but until it reaches 0. So that is nothing but here your k is nothing but we'll be reaching 0. K is reaching 0 to terminate. So once the k reaches, the program will be terminated. So yes,
N value reaches 0 now, ma'am. Not
k
K.
times it is going
K
to
will,
execute.
K will
T of
increase now,
n,
ma'am. From 1, 2, 3. Number of times it will increase now.
yeah, this your k value is
N
initially
value,
3.
K value. N
K
value,
value.
no, ma'am.
I don't assume it as n value. We are considering as a k here.
Okay,
The
ma'am.
expression you can notice. This is the first time, second time, third time, fourth time, kth time. Got it? Number of iteration. First iteration, second iteration, third iteration, fourth iteration, fifth iteration, kth iteration.
It is increasing now, ma'am. Then how it will become 0, ma'am?
Okay. The number of, this is your first iteration, right? And this is your second iteration. And this is your third iteration. I didn't speak about the value inside it. I'm speaking about the number of times. So you'll be saying this is your first iteration. This is your second iteration. This is your third iteration. So I didn't mean that 3, 2, 1, 0. I'm naming the how many times the loop is repeated. I'm not speaking about the value what is decreasing or increasing.
Okay, ma'am. Yeah.
Got it?
Got it.
Okay, fine. So we are speaking about how many times the loop is repeated. Here, if at all the loop is repeated first time, this could be the equation. Second time, third time, fourth time. Guys, very simple. N minus 1. N minus 1, this is the first time what happened? 3. The first time iteration what happened? N minus 1 in the sense it will go to 2. Second times n minus 2. N minus 2 in the sense the original value is 3. 3 minus 2 will give you 1. Depending upon the value what you are taking, the value will be substituted. 3 minus 1 gives you 2. 3 minus 2 gives you 1 again. 3 minus 3, which is nothing but third iteration will become a 0. So this is the substitution I made here. So it is going to go to some k times and I have formed this equation. So once it reaches, k is nothing but the termination point, we have assumed it. So once here, k is going to keep on increases. So until your n value equals to 0, until your n value reaches 0. So once your k value and n minus, what is the expression I can mention it? So until when the given number minus k reaches 0. This is nothing but, guys, very simple. The given number minus kth iteration will produce you 0, isn't it? So we can notice that at the last iteration, the given number is 3 minus the particular iteration gives you 0. 3 minus 3. 3 minus 3 is a given number, right? 3 minus third iteration. Right now, this is the third iteration. First iteration, second iteration, third iteration. 3 minus third iteration is going to produce you 0. So I can assume that n minus k will give you value 0. So taking this as a value, what is n then? If this is your termination condition, then what could be n here? N is nothing but equals to k. Guys, if this statement is clear only, you can able to understand why I'm doing this. Your termination point until your k reaches, until your n whenever at this termination point, you can notice that n minus k will reaches 0, where your loop is going to terminate. So I can assume that n value is equals to k value. I can substitute this n value here for the same expression. Instead of, I can, okay, let me substitute this k, this value. Just a minute. Actually, this should be n. Oh, just a minute, guys. I made some confusion. Okay, n is what I can do here, I can substitute this k value, right? So k is equals to n is equals to k. So what I can do is here I can substitute instead of n, instead of k, I can substitute n. Where I can mention n minus n and n minus k. Just substituting in place of k, I can substitute n. So since this equation, by using this equation, I can substitute in place of k, I can substitute n. So now what happens? if at all you are deriving this equation, what is going to be output? Where your T of n is calculated as T of 0 plus n. This might be the expression which we might have got. N minus n is going to produce you 0. So T of 0 is the predefined one which will take a constant value 1, which we know that whenever it is going to execute 0 times of time, we are taken a constant value 1. So 1 plus n. Guys, you can assume, as I told you that you can assume 0 also, but that it is not going to make any sense. That is the reason by default mathematical rule is 1. If at all T of 0 is assigned as 0, nothing is going to modify. Now we are supposed to find the higher degree of polynomial for the expression recursive algorithm. What we got, that is nothing but big O of n. Guys, just look at it. If at all you have any doubt in it, you can let me know. Here actually what should I say? K is reaching 0, where I can mention K minus n. Sorry, n minus K or K minus n. Guys, are you people confused at this point, or you want me to explain again this point alone? Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Explain once.
Okay. Okay, I'll give you a small example, guys. Let me take this example with different value. Okay, different value. Let me assume that your n value is 5 for the same expression. For the first iteration, what I'll do, for the foremost iteration, that is nothing but n minus 1. So you'll be calling your function and n value will be 4. For the next iteration, n minus 2, where you'll be decrementing this value, where this value will be passed as 3. N minus, let me have this recursive tree at the bottom. Okay, this again, just a minute, ma. N minus 2, n minus 3 is going to have 2, n minus 4 is going to produce you 1. N minus 5 is going to produce you 0. So just look at it. For the same program, I have taken an example. So initially the value 5 will be passed. So what happened? Initially 5 will be passed. So 5 will be printed as your output. Again 4 will be passed. So 4 will be printed as your output. Again 3 will be passed. This is how you're decrementing the value one by one, and you're going to iterate it. The same process I have mentioned here. Initially, what is your output will be printed? As per your output for the particular program, you will be getting output as 5. Okay, it is a stack memory, right? So the output, just I'm showing the stack memory, guys, how it will be stored. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This will be stored. Once it reaches 0, it is going to terminate it. So you can notice that. So how many iterations is happening? The given number is 5. 5 minus 1, 4. The value becomes 4. At your second iteration, the 5 minus 2, the value is 3. At your third iteration, 5 minus 3, the value is 2. At your fourth iteration, 5 minus 4, the value is 1. At your fifth iteration, which is nothing but this fifth iteration is considered as some k value, some kth time. Since the value is smaller, we can able to find out 5 iteration. If at all the value to be found is larger, it can be of some k iteration. Is that clear? Where n minus k is going to give you 0. This is the reason I mentioned 0. At the 0th iteration, at the particular n minus kth iteration, the program will terminate. So this is the condition. Until it terminates, the condition will be n minus k. This could be the termination condition. So once it reaches n minus k, the value will be 0. So we are assuming directly that n minus k is 0. and you're supposed to solve this equation where if n minus k is equals to 0, n is equals to k. So from the equation what we got, we are substituting wherever k is there, we are replacing k with n value. So once you are replacing n, this equation can be derived as where t of n can be made as t of 0 plus n, and where t of 0 is assumed already as value as 1, so we can substitute it as one value here plus n. So the higher degree value is taken as n as your output. Is this clear? Guys, if required, I'll give you one more example too. Don't be worried. Once you're seeing one or two examples, it will be very clear. Come on, respond me, guys. Everyone is so quiet. What does it mean? Today we are supposed to start with sorting and searching too. After completion of this. Okay, good. I'll give you one more small example. Then we can go ahead with searching and sorting algorithm. The reason is whatever why I'm giving this much importance for this is the reason behind it is once you are writing some algorithm, you should know how to analyze this. The analysis, whatever you're comfortable, you can choose with it, guys. I've given you 3 different methods, either by using recursive algorithm. Here, this is nothing but I can name it as a recursive algorithm, or I'll be naming it as a recursive relation. In case of recursive relation or recurrence relation or recursive relation. In case of recurrence relation, we people are using back substitution method. This is done by using back substitution method. This is a very important point, guys. This is done by using back substitution, evaluating the expression and substituting back. I'll give you one more small example before moving on to searching algorithm. Just a minute. What is the example I can take? For example, let me consider a program, a small structure alone, a small function, and here we are going to find recursive algorithm for this particular function. Here, let me write in Python. It will be easy, right? Instead of other programming language. Test. And here, let me assume that you're going to accept the input. And here, let me apply if condition. If at all your n value is greater than 0, let me have a for loop for I in range of n, and inside this let me print the n value, a very simple operation. And let me print the n value, and after to this let us assume I'm calling this function again, recursion function with n minus 1. The same program, guys, previously we have printed the previous one, we have printed by using printed, and we have used directly function call. Now what you're going to do is we didn't print it. Instead of this, what you are doing is we are using for loop and iterating and printing n number of times. Previously we have printed directly without this for loop. Now I'm using for loop. That is a variation in this program. The same program where I'm going to do some decrement operation. So for this, if at all your guys, are you people clear with this program? The same program with small changes. The small changes is instead of printing directly, I'm using for loop here. Now let us see what is the recurrence relation for this particular program. Now we people are supposed to calculate T of n for this algorithm. We can use a program or algorithm. We are going to calculate T of n for this particular program. So how many unit of time is taken for this particular first line? It takes 1 unit of time, right? Guys, listen carefully. It takes 1 unit of time. And how many unit of time is taken for this particular for loop? For for loop, it takes n plus 1 times. Normally, it will execute n plus 1 time. Since it will by default start with 0, n plus 1 times. So what about the inner statement of your loop? We know that inner statement of your loop is going to be executed how many times? N times. So how many times this particular recursion is going to happen? This recursion is going to happen T of N minus 1 times. Guys, is this clear? If statement is going to execute 1 times, for loop is going to execute N plus 1 times, print statement is going to execute any statement inside your for loop which ranges from 0 to N will execute N times, and followed by a recursive call, it will be executed T of N minus 1 times. Now, let us have a calculation part of it. How we are going to calculate it. So what is the T of N we got from it? So T of N, I can make it as this recursive call first, which is nothing but T of N minus 1. Apart from this, what are the element we are having here? We are supposed to consider this innermost part, that is nothing but N. And this 1 is there. So how many element is there? So N plus N will become as 2N plus, we'll be getting the value which these two are added, which is nothing but 2. Guys, is this clear? Summation of all this value we are taking here. Clear with it? Summation of all this value. Now, if at all you are taking this value, it is very hard. If at all you are taking the expressions in this way, it will be very hard for me to calculate. That is, it is not going to make big changes. The reason is already the order is of N. So instead of mentioning this one, simply I can assume my value as N. Instead of this, we can assume as N. The reason behind it is not going to make big changes in your output. So if at all your expression is too long, it will be too lengthy to calculate for us. So generally we can assume this particular expression is T of N minus 1 plus N. Is that clear, guys? Why I'm assuming this one? Somehow this constant is not going to make any meaning of it. So instead of assuming as 2N, I can assume just N alone in order to make my expression clear. It will be easy for me to evaluate it. So you can look at it. For the previous expression, what we got the equation T of N minus 1 plus 1 as an expression. Here instead of 1, we are getting this particular time calculation expression as T of N minus 1 plus N. Now we are going to go ahead with the back substitution method for this expression. Okay, now we'll go ahead with the evolution part as we did previously. So if at all your T of N is this value, then we are supposed to find the T of N minus 1. So what could be the T of N minus 1? What we told, wherever we have N, that is wherever we have N, in place of N, we are supposed to replace with N minus 1. So just try to replace it and find out the expression. In place of N, if I'm replacing N minus 1, I'll be getting N minus 2 as my answer. Let me put this bracket, guys, okay, for the evolution. You have to know that where the expression is implemented. And here your N value is substituted with N minus 1. Okay, the values are substituted. Now, guys, don't try to evaluate then and then. The reason behind it is we are supposed to find the expression, what is that we are getting, and we are supposed to implement with certain k number of times. Don't evaluate it. Keep the expression as such, it will help you. Okay, N minus 1. So in this particular place, wherever N is there, I'm going to substitute it, and followed by, I'm going to keep this N as such. I'm not going to disturb this N, I'll keep this N as such. So just a minute, let me evaluate first, then I'll keep this, guys. Before this one, if I'm doing this one, it will be confusing. Just a minute, I'll keep this one here. Just a minute. T of N minus 1. Okay, here, sorry. There's small confusion. Just a minute. I'll bring this back. We didn't substitute it, right? So T of N minus 2 followed by N minus 1. So this is the expression we got. Once we are evaluating, we are adding this wherever N is there. once you are implementing n minus 1 in the place of n value, this is the value you'll be getting. So now let us go with the substitution method and we'll substitute here. So right now, wherever your t of n minus 1 is there, guys listen carefully, wherever t of n minus 1 is there, what is the value we got by substituting n minus 1 in case of n's place? This is the value we got, which is nothing but t of n minus 2, n minus 1 is the expression we got it. So actual expression is nothing but we are having t of n minus 1 plus 1. Right now we are supposed to substitute value at this place. The value what we got by evaluating this one is this is the value we got it. So I can place this value directly inside this one. This is all about your t of next iteration. This is all about your first iteration and this is the next iteration. Once for the third iteration, what happened? Again substitute the value of t of n minus 2. So for t of n minus 2, what will happen here? T of n minus 2. So this expression will become as t of n minus 3 plus n minus 2. Isn't it? Previously n minus 1, this will become as n minus 2. Something mistake I made. Did I do mistake here? That's right. Good. Everything is right.
N
Yes.
ma'am,
Yeah.
we should take n minus 1 also, ma'am.
We are substituting in this expression. Here n minus 1 also.
Yes, ma'am.
No, just we are finding what is the value of n minus 2 alone. Just we didn't substitute in this, guys. Don't be confused here. We are substituting wherever n minus 1 is there. We are substituting this place alone. The same expression we are taking it and we are substituting. We didn't take this expression, the complete expression. What to say? Just a minute. I'll elaborate this one. Don't be worried. I'll take this t, already t of n minus 1 is there, which is literally mean that here in case of place of n, we are mentioning n minus 1 minus 1 equals to t of n minus 1. Just a minute. T of n minus 1. Where is the expression? Okay. Minus 2. Plus n minus 1 minus 1. Got it? This is how we are expression. This is how we are evaluating it. The same expression, if you want to form this one, just substitute this, keep on substitute this value along with the existing expression. So somewhere you're going to get only this value. So t of n minus 3 plus n minus 2. So this is what we got from this. Is this clear?
Not clear, ma'am.
Not clear. Which is confusing?
This second expression, ma'am.
Second expression. With the first expression to second expression, what you did? Wherever n is there, you made it as n minus 1. Here I am substituting, in case of n, I am substituting n minus 1. The same way here I substituted n minus 1. Okay, so if I am substituting n minus 1 here, what happened? Already minus 1 is there. So what happened? N minus 2 has came. So let us see how this expression has evaluated. Then you'll be clear. Just a minute. Your original expression is the above expression, right? Wherever your t of n is there, I'm going to make it as t of n minus 1. Directly substitute n minus 1 in place of n. Going in with the next part here. T of, wherever n is there, substitute n minus 1. Followed by minus 1. Is this clear? This part, in this n's place, I'm substituting n minus 1. Answer me.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, followed by plus, now there n is there. In this place, n is there. Substitute with n minus 1. Substitute this place with n minus 1. Right now, you can able to get the answer, this answer. Isn't it? N minus 1 equals to, evaluating this one is going to produce you n minus 2. T of n minus 2. Actually, this should be closed. This should produce the answer T of n minus 2 followed by n minus 1. So, this is for your second iteration. This is for your first iteration you might be got. Again, for the next iteration, again replace n's place with n minus 1. So already this particular expression is given as T of n minus 1. So what happened? In case of n's place, I'll replace n minus 1. So what I'll get? T of n minus 1 will produce you T of n minus 2. So I got this one, T of n minus 2. So same way replace n minus 1 at this place,
Clear, ma'am.
Got it. Okay. Okay. You want to mention it as the equation. This is your first equation, what you got. Okay. And this is your second equation. And for a next iteration, this could be a third equation, which is along with the existing n value, we are going to add this value. Only this part you're going to add, right? So what you're going to, already this part is there, only this part you're going to substitute it. So here T of n minus 1 plus n is going, you're going to keep this as such. Only at this place of T of n minus 2, you're going to substitute this equation, what we bought. So what have we got? So I'll take this one, I'll substitute at this place. So somehow it is going to, this is the equation 3 what we got. Somehow you're going to extend this expression. Okay. So if you're elaborating this expression or evaluating this expression, you'll get T of n minus 3 plus n minus 2 plus n minus 1 plus n. This is the final equation you'll be getting if at all you're elaborating this particular information. The same way this particular loop is going to execute certain k number of times, right? Whereas you know the number of iteration. So this is going to execute certain k times. So what I can do is I can find what is the kth time here. So T of k, so T of n for kth iteration, which is for termination. Guys, as you find early, the kth time I'm going to find here also. The kth time when your program is going to, when this particular program will terminate. So for this, what I can do is, just a minute, guys. Sorry for the interrupt, guys. Just a minute. So let me assume here. So once your n value reaches k, okay, when your n value reaches k, this particular, let us assume, just you're going to substitute instead of this third iteration, it might be a kth iteration, you'll terminate it. Okay, so what I can do is I can mention this instead of this k, instead of this 3, n minus k could be your final termination point. And for the next step, what I can mention is I can mention n minus k, okay, n minus k minus 1, isn't it? I doesn't know what is k. Here I know what is 3. So 3 minus 1 is going to go ahead with the next iteration. There is nothing but 3 minus 1, 2, 2 minus 1, 3. Here I doesn't know what is k. So I can mention n minus k minus 1 time the next step is will be. And for the next step, what it could be? N of, sorry guys, n minus k minus 2 times. So since I doesn't know the number, just I'm mentioning n minus 1, n minus 2, n minus 3. Okay, it is keep on going in this way. So this will be executed till n minus 1 time, or it, at the end, the final termination is at n time it will be executing. So the last one is n minus 1 followed by n is the last statement. So I can able to form an equation out of it. Initially, for k, let us assume for k time it is executing. So instead of 3, let me substitute k. 3 minus 1 is, will be a next statement. So let me mention is going to execute k minus 1 time. Okay, k minus 1 time it is going to substitute it. And next followed by k minus 2, k minus 3, and so on is going to substitute. Okay, till n minus 1 plus n is going to substitute here and followed by. Now we are going to evaluate it. So what is the termination condition of it? The same thing, guys. I'm not going to change any termination condition here. The same termination condition I'm going to make use of it. That is nothing but whenever my n minus k equals to 0, my loop terminates. So you can notice that whenever a k minus, the same for loop, right? Whenever your k minus n or n minus k, you can keep it anything. Wherever your n minus k reaches 0, your loop terminates. So I can assume that my n value equals to k as my equation here. So just substitute this value here. You'll be getting t of n. Substitute wherever k is there, substitute in place of k with n value. So t of n minus n plus substitute n minus 1. Okay, same way substitute with all the values, guys. You can able to evaluate this expression. Minus 2 and so on. It's going to be executed till n minus 1 plus n times. So evaluating this one, you'll be getting t of 0 plus. Here, what is the equation? Once you are removing it, n minus once you are elaborating it, n minus n will be cancelled. Okay, once this bracket is opening, this minus will become as plus. Same way, this number will become as plus here. So what happens here is, so 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus, you'll be getting the equation like this, guys. So once it is cancelled, you'll be getting 1 plus 2 plus 3. It will go till n. So you can get t of 0 plus n into, I can have an equation n into n plus 1 divided by 2 as the answer. So we know that the expression what we form will get t of 0 value is 1. So we can assume that t of 0 value is 1. So 1 plus, so what is the higher degree of polynomial you'll be getting? You'll be getting n square here. 1 plus n square. So you can mention this with big O notation as big O of n square. Come on, guys, is it easy to understand? The only thing is completely based on mathematical equation. Is it clear, guys? Yeah.
How you written this last step, ma'am? N
This
minus
one,
1. No, ma'am. Here n minus 1 plus n. T of n equals to after k times.
Yeah, this
After
one.
k.
This
The
line.
last. Yes. Last one.
Okay. So this line, right? Whatever I'm highlighting, you're speaking about this line. Is this the statement you're saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So here it is 3 times. We are going to find what is the termination point as we kept it as a k time. So instead of 3, I can substitute k. So for the next statement, it is nothing but if it is 3, the next statement is 3 minus 1, that is 2. And again 3 minus 2, that is nothing but minus 1. So such a way it is executing, it will keep on decrementing one step. There in case of third iteration, I can able to find it, there is a finite step, 3 steps. Here in case of kth iteration, I doesn't know any finite step. So what I can do is I can mention here this is of kth iteration and next value will be of k minus 1 iteration. In case of the next value minus 2, I'll replace as k minus 1th iteration. In case of minus 1, which is nothing but 3 minus 2 is nothing but 1. So in case of minus 1 place, I'll mention k minus 2th iteration. Is that clear? So based on this value, I'm substituting here. So 3 minus 1, 3 minus 2. So here k, so k minus 1, k minus 2, k minus 3 will be substituted in place of this negative value. Is that clear how I'm substituting?
This last one, ma'am.
This statement, n minus 1.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Actually, this should be at the termination point will be of in this way only. At the end, you'll go over n minus 1. This is the last statement of your termination. Normally, whenever the loop is terminated, you'll be getting n minus 1, then followed by the n.
Can we write n minus 1 in terms of k and n, ma'am? N minus.
You can notice that here I'm replacing only the integer value. I didn't replace any. You're speaking about this one. You want
Yes,
to replace
ma'am.
this
Yes,
one.
ma'am.
So what do you want to
Yes.
replace here? K minus K minus. What can I replace here?
N.
N. You want to replace as K minus N. K minus N. You're saying this one as K minus N. How is this possible? Give me a second. Let me think to it whether it is possible. Okay, you can replace it. Even if you are replacing also, somehow you're going to get same answer. After this, you'll be substituting this n with k. Once you are replacing n with k, k with n, what happens? These two values is going to be get cancelled. You'll get 0 again. Tentatively, again, you're going to get the same equation. Once after, even if you're substituting also, once after implementing this value, it's going to give you only the same expression. The expression is not going to vary.
Ma'am,
Yes.
here last n plus n should not be, ma'am. It will be the terminating. It will be the terminating condition. N minus k minus n will be the end.
Will be the end. Okay. Instead of the entire equation, is it possible? Just a minute. Give me a second. K minus n, substitute. The termination point will be there. Just a minute, guys. Guys, if at all you're doing this as you say, instead of 1, you're substituting starting from kth time. Usually we'll be writing this way only. Give me some time. I'll check with this and I'll let you know. You can't be able to change this expression. N should be there because from this expression we are evaluating this one. This n cannot be removed, as you see. So if at all you are changing this n, it means that we are changing the equation as per our comfort. It is not possible. Is it clear?
Okay. Clear,
I'll
ma'am.
check with
Clear.
this one. Okay.
Okay.
Guys, other part, are the people clear with it? Come on, guys. Everyone is so quiet since I'm speaking about mathematical equation. Shall we move for next one? Guys, respond me. Okay, good.
Ma'am,
Yes.
this n minus 1 half plus n is there, no, ma'am?
Yes.
It will satisfy all the number, all k times, ma'am.
This one. All k times. It
Oh,
can be of any number.
can be.
At the end, it should come to n minus 1 and followed by n.
Okay, ma'am.
Normally,
Clear,
you
ma'am.
can able to find out the normal recursion function will go ahead only with the operation.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. And next is we people are going to see with sorting and searching algorithm. First, we'll complete searching algorithm. So speaking about searching algorithm, what are the different types of searches are available? What are different types of searches available? Guys, here in case of searching algorithm, don't think about that. I can use find method, or for sorting method, I can use just sort method. Just we are speaking about algorithm, we didn't speak about any predefined method. Okay, first come to this clarity. The reason is whenever we are going to see this searching and sorting algorithm in case of Python, everyone, the first thing strike in mind is directly by using this index method or by using find method or by using sort method is easy for me to do it. Why should I see this one? First, you should know how this algorithm works and you should understand the analysis of each and every algorithm. So that is the reason we are seeing specifically about this searching and sorting algorithm. Speaking about the searching algorithm, there are two types. One is linear search and other is binary search. Linear and another is binary search. So will you people write logic for linear search in a list? Linear search is very easy, very basic, right? Will you people try for linear search? Searching for an element in a list or an array in a sequential manner is called linear search. Can you people try it out, this guys? Guys, respond me something. 45 members are there. I could hardly receive one or two respond. What about others? Guys, are people there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Try it out, try it out. I guess latency difference is there. Whatever you're pinging is coming just now, it is popping out. Okay. Just try it out soon, guys. Declare a list and try to implement linear search in it. Here now, right now, whenever you're going to write an algorithm, just have a habit of having analysis of it. Okay. Come on soon. Just logic part alone, it is sufficient, guys. No need of writing complete thing, just logic is alone sufficient. Just I'm writing skeleton of it. I want you people to complete the logic soon. Very simple. After this, we'll be saying only majority of the thing we'll be doing only as a programmatic way, guys. Don't be worried that we'll never go for theory again. After this, we'll be having majority of the thing will be of practical programs we are supposed to do with it. Complete fast. Guys, hardly 2 to 3 minutes of time. That's it. Just I didn't ask you people to iterate it. I asked you to perform linear search in a list. Guys, one or two is responding. What about others? Are you people trying it or not? Or else shall we try here? Guys, come on, be little interactive, don't be silent. Or shall we try here, or people trying it? Respond me something, guys. So quiet. Okay, we'll try here, guys. Okay, fine. So if this is a list pass, we are going to find whether the particular key element is there or not. So for this, let us assume there is a list here. User is passing some value. Here, let me give few test cases. If at all the user is given as value, key value as 8, I'm supposed to find whether key is present, this particular 8 is present there or not. So what I can do is I can have an iterator for I in list. So I'm going to take a value one by one from my list, and what I can do, we can check whether here I is equals to the key value. You can check like this, and if it is there, you can print directly element present, or you can mention position also, it's up to you. Element present, and you can able to break your loop and come out of it. If the element is not there throughout the program, you can write else part for your for loop, and you can write printf, print element not present. Right, a simple program you can write like this. You can write the same program even without using this for loop also, directly by using if condition. You can write in Python. That is nothing but by using in operator directly for the particular element in list. Okay, this is a one way of writing, guys, where what happened for this is a normal way as you write in C programming, where there is a list of values is there. From the user, you're going to accept your key value. If at all the key, I'm going to pass these two elements as a parameter. If I'm going to take element by element from this list, I'm going to iterate it. If at all the particular element is present in this particular list, here first 8 will be taken and key value will be checked. If it is there, it will present, it will check immediate, it will check element is there. If this condition is true, it will print the element present, it will come out of the particular loop immediately. So if the element is not there, it will check with the next element. So what happened? We have seen this order, right? So if the test case value is given as 8, in the first search I can able to find it out. That is nothing but in a big O of notation, I can able to find it out. If at all the given element which is present at the last value is 4. So how many iteration it will be taken? That is nothing but n iteration will be required. I'm supposed to take first element, check with the key value, not present. Second element, no. Third element, no. Same way, all the elements will be checked, and I'm supposed to go ahead with n iteration. Here, your complexity here is order of n. Is that clear? Your complexity here is order of n, and this is your best case. This is the minimum number of iteration, and this is the maximum number of iteration. Guys, is this clear? Come on, respond me. Is that clear, guys? Okay. The same program can be written without using for loop also, just by using in operator. Okay. So let me write the same program without using for loop. Just for you, for calculating complexity, I have used it for loop here, guys, and I have to show you. In case of Python, there is one operator called in operator. I guess you people might have came across it. That is nothing but membership operator, right? So in case of membership operator, you can check directly if here k in list. If the element is there, in operator will perform search operation by default. It will check whether the element is there or not. It is not required to use if. In case of Python, you can do directly. Yes, since in order to calculate you people and show you the time complexity, I have used this one. So if the element is there, it is going to print the element is there. If the element is not there, it's going to print the element not present. This directly you can do by using Python, by using in operator. If at all you want to know the logic, you're supposed to iterate by using for loop in this way. This is all about your linear search. Okay. And next thing is we are going to see about the binary search, how it is done.
Ma'am,
Yes.
when we use in operator, what is the
Okay.
complexity?
Complexity we doesn't know. Whatever the logic they are implemented, we doesn't know it. It depends upon the compiler, whatever they designed it.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. And next is binary search. Okay. What is the logic behind binary search, guys? In case of linear search, I can take an array or list. I can go ahead in a sequential manner. I can able to find out the element is there present or not. So I told you that if I want to find the element at the first position, it will take one iteration. If the element is present at the last position, or if the element is not present, if the element is not there in the sense, it is going to give you the order as order of n. Here, this particular linear search is what happened to the time complexity. If at all if the particular list has some 100 values or 1000 values, and if the element is going to be searched is present or it is at the end of your list, what happened? You're supposed to perform 1000 iterations, which is not that much efficient algorithm, where linear search is not the efficient algorithm in order to make our search easily. If you want to make our search easily, the advisor way is binary search. In case of binary search, what you're going to do is you're going to make use of one important approach, that is nothing but divide and conquer approach. Have you
Ma'am,
heard? Okay, yeah.
one scroll up, ma'am.
Just
For loop you used, ma'am.
for loop, which one you're asking about? This one, yeah.
Once run the program.
No, this one. I ran it. You want me to run again? Okay, I'll run again. What is the value you want me to give?
4 enter.
4.
Ma'am, I am getting 4 times now. Element not present, not. At last I am getting for the fifth iteration I am getting element present.
Check with the indentation space. Have you followed the same indentation? Check with the spaces. Have you given correctly?
Okay. Okay.
And next approach is you're going to see with binary search. In case of binary search, you're going to make use of divide and conquer method. This divide and conquer method is nothing but whenever you're going to solve a problem, when the problem is a huge problem, I can't able to take all the direction. I'm supposed to divide the particular problem into multiple sub problems, and the particular sub problems will be divided and it will be solved step by step. So this is called divide and conquer method. For implementing divide and conquer method, I should take example list only as a sorter, where this divide and conquer method is possible only in a sorted list or sorted array. Speaking about this linear approach, it is not a sorted one. It is the unsorted one, we are going to take it. But this particular search can be done only in case of sorted. This is the first important point, implemented only in sorted list or sorted array. It cannot be done in an unsorted list. So first, if you want to perform binary search, the first condition you should check whether it is sorted manner. Let me take a small example. If at all your list contain a value, just let me give a naive approach, guys. You're going to write a program for it. So let me take a list which consists of a value 3, 6. Let me give some sequence random value with increasing order. 14, 17, 25, 29, what else I can give? 31, 36, 42, 47, 53, 55, 62. Let this be example. Just I are given how many values are given? Are given almost your size value. Your size of this one is, just let us assume I given 15 values to it. There are 15 values in this list. So here we are going to perform this binary search. So this binary search, what you're going to do is you're going to set some index pointer. This binary search is performed by using setting an index pointer where the first value and the last value is taken. Where the initial index pointer is set here, guys. You're going to keep on divide this list by 2, 2 again, and you're going to perform the operation. So for your clarification, let me do one thing. I'll write the index position of it. This is the first value, second value, third value, 4, 5. Guys, just for your calculation, I'm writing it. It'll be easy for you to for a calculation step during your programming. That's the reason. Okay. Your 10th value, your 11th value, your 12th value, your 13th value, your 14th, and your 15th value. So we are written 15 values here, right? Now, this binary search is done by indexing, where your lower index, I'm going to set my lower index with the starting position of my array, and I'm going to set my higher index with the last value of an array, which is nothing but your end position of an array. So I'm going to add, what I'll do is I'm going to add your starting plus end value. I'll search with the mid value. Just initially I'll find the mid value, then I break into two, continuously breaking, and I'm going to find it out. Let us see how we are going to find it out in this one. So let us assume in this array, let us assume I want to find a key value. What is the value I can assume? Let us assume I want to find the value 42, which is at the position 11. Okay, which is at the position 11. Let us assume I want to find the value 42. We'll see how we are going to find it out. So what I told you, you're going to continuously perform division, right? So here I'm going to set few elements, which is your lower bound value and your higher bound value, and I'm supposed to find the mid value. And this mid value is done by your lower value plus your higher value divided by 2. This is the logic. Lower bound value, higher bound value divided by 2. For example, what we have taken our key value as 42. Now we are supposed to implement binary search of it, and you're going to find it out. So what is the lower bound value here? Your lower bound value are assumed as 1. What is the higher bound value? Your higher bound value is, there are 15 values in it. So let me assume as 15. So how will you calculate mid value here? Your lower bound value plus higher bound value divided by 2, which is nothing but 16 by 2 is going to give you 8. So 8 is the first mid value. So I'll check whether my key value is equals to a mid value. Right now, what is your key value? 42. I'll check whether your key value is equals to mid value. It is not equal. Since 42 is not equals to your mid value, if it is not equal, I'll check whether my key value is less than mid value. I'll check whether my key value 42 is less than my mid value, or my key value is greater than my mid value. Just a minute. Whether my key value is greater than my mid value. These are two conditions I'm supposed to check. I'll allow overall three condition, guys. First condition I'll check here is whether my key value is equals to my mid value. If it is equal, which means that I'm going to find the found what is the key value has been found in the first iteration itself. If the value is not matching, what I can do is good Nagaraju. If the value is not matching, I'll check with my whether my key value is less than your mid value or greater than your mid value. If at all your key value is less than your mid value, I'll make it as I'll move my your key value is less than your mid value in the sense I'll move my key value to mid minus 1, which is nothing but I'll check whether this value is equals to 42. No. If at all the value which is given a lower bound, if this is not there, not to include this value for the next iteration, so I'll move my key value to mid minus 1. Here, if at all your key value is greater than your mid value, which is nothing but it determines that whatever the value you are searching will be at the next half. Just finding the mid value, I'll check whether it is equal, is not equal. If the value is greater, which means that whatever the value you are searching will be the next half for sure. The reason is since this particular list is a sorted list. So in those cases, you're supposed to check to the next range with where k value will be mentioned as mid plus 1. Okay. Now after this, modifying your lower bound is your k value has been modified. So what happens here is we are supposed to modify. Here we found that this particular 42 is not equals to 28, and moreover this 42 is greater than your. Sorry guys, here I should mention your lower bound and upper bound. Instead of this I mentioned in this way, which is nothing. Your higher bound should be modified, and here your lower bound should be modified. So right now you can notice that 42 is greater than 29. So what I should do? I should modify my lower bound value as mid plus 1. What is the mid value you got? That's nothing but 8. So it will be modified as 9. And your higher bound value remains same again. So it remains as 15. So here again try to perform addition, try to do addition operation. 9 plus 15 by 2. Once you are dividing it, what is the value you'll be getting? You'll be getting value as 12 as your answer. So your next midpoint you'll be getting as 12. So right now I'll check whether your key value is to be searched is equals to your mid value. No. If it is not equal, I'll check whether your key value is less than mid value. Your key value is 42, which is less than 47. So then you're supposed to modify your higher bound as mid minus 1. Right now your mid is 12, so it will be decremented by 1. Yeah.
Ma'am, h is equal to mid minus 1, not ma'am. Now mid value is 8 na ma'am.
Mid value is 8. Yeah.
If at all h is equal to mid minus
condition, whether your key value is. Yeah. Tell me.
ma'am, at present mid value is 8 ma'am.
For the first iteration or second iteration you're speaking about?
For the second iteration ma'am.
Mid value is 8.
Then h is equal to mid minus 1 means.
What is the mid value we got here? 9 plus 12 by 2.
Okay ma'am. Okay ma'am. Yes ma'am.
Okay.
Yes,
So mid value is 12. Okay. Now again check with this particular 12th question, guys. So once you check, just a minute, something is there. Now once you check with this 12th question, it is 47, which is not equal to key value. In this condition, what I'm supposed to do is I'm supposed to decrement it. Since this 42, what you are searching is less than the mid value, so you're supposed to decrement your highest value as mid minus 1. So right now your mid value is 12. If you're decrementing, it becomes as 11, and your highest range has to be modified, not lowest range. Your highest range has to be modified to 11. So right now the range will be taken as 9 to 11. So again do this addition operation, mid plus 9 plus 11 by 2. So you'll be getting 20 by 2, 10 as the answer. Okay. Right now I'll check with my 10th question. Whether my value is 42 is equals to 10. No. And moreover, this particular key value is greater than this particular value whatever is there. So when the value is greater, when a key value is greater than mid value, increment your mid value, increment by low value by mid plus 1. So what happened? Your low value will be incremented plus 1. So it will go to the mid plus 1 in the sense your mid value is 10. So mid plus 1 will go to 11 and your high value will become as 11. So 11 plus 11 is going to by 2 is going to give you 11 again. Now at the 11th position, I'll check the value is there. The value is there, so the element found will be displayed. So overall, you can notice that how many comparison is made for this to find out this element is there or not. So you can calculate the number of iterations. So the number of iterations is it is taking 4 iterations or 4 comparisons. Guys, is that clear?
Ma'am, repeat, ma'am.
Okay. Shall I give some other example for you people? Shall I give you one more example? Same way. Shall we take one more value from this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we'll take one more value. I'll add one more value, guys. Okay, the same logic. So let me take my key value as 12. We'll take key value as 12. So here the logic behind here is, this is a logic behind here. Whenever your key value, whenever your mid value is equals to key value, you can able, just a minute guys, let me paste it here before speaking.
What doubt, madam? You're telling program or you're explaining the program, madam?
I'm explaining the logic for program.
Logic.
We didn't say the I didn't discuss about the program syntax, all those things. Thus, what is the logic has to be implemented? How does your binary search works?
You're not showing the output, man. That's why I got doubt. Okay.
What happened?
You're not showing the output is not coming, no, ma'am. I'm doing output here.
Okay, okay. This is just a process, execution, tracing of a program.
Okay.
Okay. Here, let me take 12, a small example. If at all your key value is given as 12, what is the lower bound value? Your lower bound value is 1. What is the higher bound value? That's 15. Right? For the same array, 15. So what is the mid value you'll be getting? 1 plus 15 by 2, you're going to get 8 as your mid value. So now I'll go to the 8th position. I'll check whether the particular value, key value is equal. It is not equal. Right? You'll be getting 29 and 12 is not equal. So what happened? I'll check if this condition is not equal. I'll check whether key value is less than mid value. The key value is 12, which is less than mid value 29. Yes. So in this case, what I supposed to do? I supposed to modify my highest value with mid minus 1. So if it is lesser, for sure the value will be within this range only. So I'm going to set my range from 1 to 7. So I'll set my range as 1 to 7 again. Now we can add 1 plus 7 by 2, which is going to produce your answer as 4. Now I'll check with the 4th position. You got the answer. So within 2 comparison, I got my answer. You people could compare. So what is the difference between this binary search and linear search? The same 12, if I given in by linear search, how many comparisons I should have made? I should have made 4 comparisons. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 comparisons is required. Okay. Now, if the same element is given in binary search, you can notice that I'm doing the same operation within 2 comparisons. It is not required for me to have 4 comparison, n comparison not required, 2 comparison. The same way for 42, how many comparisons we made? 4 comparison. If at all you are doing this 42 by using linear search, I should have made 11 comparison. The number of comparison is getting reduced. Okay, now we have seen the example for where the value is present. If at all we are taking some example, we are trying to find the value which is not there in a list. What happens? We will go ahead with the particular scenarios. We'll give this last test case, which is nothing but test case 3, guys. After completing this, we can go ahead with the logic. We can go ahead with the programming of it. So let us assume I given my key value as 30. What happens here? We are going to see if my key value to be searched is 30, which is not there on the list. We'll see in how many comparisons it is finding out the element is there or not. So what is the first value? Your lower bound is 1 and your higher bound will be 15 always. So you'll be getting a mid value 1 plus 15 by 2, which is nothing but 8 as your mid value. So at the 8th position, I'll check whether this 30 is equals to 8th position value. 30 is equal to 8th position value is 29. It is not equal. And moreover, this key value is greater than this mid value. So if the key value is greater than this mid value, what you're supposed to do? You're supposed to move my lower bound as mid plus 1. So I'll move my lower bound as mid plus 1. Your mid value is 8. I'll move it as 9. And your higher bound remains as same. Now I'll again perform this operation, which is nothing but just a minute, something else is open. Okay. Here I'll do it as 9 plus 15 by 2. So which is going to give you 12 as your result. So again, I'll go to the 12th position, which is 47. I'll check with my key value, which is 30, which is not equal. And here I can find that my key value is less than your mid value. If at all your key value is less than your mid value, I'm supposed to decrement my height with mid minus 1. So your highest point will modify as highest bound will become as 11 here. So what happens here is my highest bound is 9 to 11. So what happens? 9 plus 11 by 2. It will become as 10. Fine. Now I'll check whether this 30 is equals to the element at 10th position. No, it is not equal. And moreover, this key value is less than this. If it is less than this value, I'm supposed to modify my high value again. So again, if I'm decrementing my high value, previously my high value is 10. So 11. If I'm decrementing it, so my previously it is 11 and mid value is 10. If I'm decrementing my mid value by 1, it will become as 9 again. So now I'll check 9 plus 9 divide by 2 divide by 2. Again I'll get 9. Now I'll check whether 9th position value is equals to 30. 9th position value is 31, which is greater than this value. So if it is greater, what I should suppose do? I'm supposed to mention mid minus 1 as your higher bound value. So your lower bound remains as 9 and your higher bound becomes as 8. So you can keep your termination condition. If at all your higher bound is greater than your lower bound, you should terminate your program. Or you can say that until my lower bound is less than your higher bound, you can execute a program. Once you find that lower bound is greater than, once you found that your lower bound is greater than your higher bound, you can able to, once you find out that your higher bound is greater than your lower bound, you can terminate the program. Is it clear, guys? Clear with the logic of binary search? Come on, respond me. Will you people try logic for this? Okay, good, good. One has did already. What about others? Just mention your step, exact step, what is going to do. Yes?
Once repeat last step, ma'am.
This one, last one. Okay.
After getting 9.
After getting 9. So after getting 9, you can notice that your lower bound value is higher, is greater than your higher bound, which is nothing but, which means that your higher bound reaches this point and your lower bound reaches this point. So there is no more operation can be done after this. I have found that the 30 is not there even within this particular position. At this position also 30 is not there. So I can able to conclude the conclusion that once your higher bound is greater than, once your higher bound is less, once your higher bound is greater than your lower bound. sorry ma, once your, what to say, once your lower bound is greater than your higher bound, or until my higher bound is, just a minute, the statement what it is confusing myself. Until your lower bound is less than your higher bound, less than or equals to your higher bound, I can terminate. So I can execute it. I can execute. This particular execution is true, is possible. So once your higher bound is greater than your lower bound, you're supposed to, once your higher bound is getting less than your lower bound, sorry guys, once your higher bound is getting less than your lower bound, which means that your program has to terminate. No more iterations, no more possibilities of getting the value within this range. Guys, let me repeat again. Until your lower bound is less than your higher bound, I can execute it. Once this pointer comes this way, you're starting a higher bound here, you're starting a lower bound here. The pointer can be of lower bound should be always less than your higher bound. Whenever the condition arises, your lower bound is high and your higher bound is less. When it comes in a zigzag manner, which is a termination condition. Yeah?
How you got 8, ma'am?
8. So till 9 you're clear, right? Till this you're clear. 9. So
Yes,
I'll
ma'am.
check this 9th position value is 30. I'll check whether my key value is equals to my mid value. My key value is 30, not equals to mid value. So when it is not equal, I'll check whether key value is less than mid value. What is our key value? 30. 30 is less than mid value, 31. Condition true. If it is less, what I'm supposed to do? I'm supposed to I'm supposed to move my highest position by mid minus 1. Right now, who is the highest value? What is your mid value? 9. And 9 will be decremented by 1. That is nothing but it will become as 8 and your highest position will be modified as 8 here. Is this clear?
Clear, ma'am. Clear,
Okay.
ma'am.
Guys, will you try logic for this? Just try out the logic for this, guys. Very simple. Try it out. Let me make use of this same function skeleton. Guys, try it out soon. Maximum I can give you only 5 minutes of time. Since we are running out of time, just try to complete the logic part alone. It is not required to write the complete skeleton. Just try to complete the try out the logic part alone. Just written the outer skeleton part, guys. Complete the logic part. Guys, it is so easy. That is the reason I given binary search. What is that? I given a complete process of it. Okay, I'll do one thing. Let me declare an algorithm for it. By tomorrow's class, when you people are coming, just try to convert this algorithm as logic. A simple algorithm pattern I'll discuss. Okay, listen carefully. Okay, so we are going to take a list. Okay, list or array. Even in case of Python, we are having array, right? You can assume as a list or array. It's up to you. And followed by size, and from the key value you're going to take for this particular function. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my low value as 1 and high value as n. Low value starts with 1 and your high value starts with n. Here, I'm going to write while loop. What is my termination condition? I have told you people. Guys, this is an algorithm. What I'm writing is algorithm. Just try to convert this algorithm to a program. Okay, what is the termination condition? I have told you until your I value is, until your low value is less than or equal to I value, I can execute it. Once this high value is greater than your low value, I am going to terminate it. So here let me apply this condition. Until my low value is less than or equal to high value, I am going to execute it. So I'm supposed to find the mid value for each and every iteration. What is your mid value? We are going to find mid value is nothing but low plus high by 2 is your mid value. So after finding mid value, what you're supposed to check if at all my key is equal to whatever the key the user has given is equals to my array of mid or list of index. You can keep it, guys. Here, since I'm assumed as array, I have mentioned as array of mid. If it is equal, you can able to return or you can able to print. Here, since it is a function, you can return back to the function call. Return the particular mid value. Mid is the index position of where the element is there. This is nothing but I'm returning the position of the value, guys. Index position back to the function call. If it is not equal, I can go ahead with other condition, whatever I told you. If it is equal, just print it, print the index position. If it is not equal, do one thing, check two conditions. One is key is less than your mid value or key is greater than your mid value. This is what I'm going to do. If it is not equal, I can check with my condition whether my key is less than my mid value. If it is less than your mid value, you're supposed to make your height as mid minus 1. You're supposed to change your height of it. Else, if it is not less than, what does it mean? By default, it is greater, right? For greater, what you're supposed to do is low is equals to mid plus 1. Is it clear with the logic, guys? I didn't do anything big thing here. A very simple logic. So if you're performing this operation till the end and you don't find the particular value, in those cases, return 0 back to your function call. Guys, just I written a skeleton of it. I didn't write complete thing. Tomorrow when you people are coming, just try to write the complete program. Try to convert this as a program. Just I written an algorithm for this binary search. Guys, is that clear? What are the example I told you? The same thing we are converted as a program. Nothing I did added anything. Just setting as 1 to n. Until my low value is less than high value, I'm going to iterate it. For each and every time, I'm going to find a mid value. If your mid value is equal to the particular array of index value, I'll return my mid as my output. That's the index position. Else, I'll check whether it is lesser or greater than your key value. Is this clear?
Clear, ma'am.
Okay. Speaking about this order, how many iterations we are supposed to go for each and every time? Each and every time, how many iterations we are going? What is the complexity here, guys? Could you people remember the complexity? What have we thought? At the beginning, I told you, right? What is the complexity here?
n by 2 times, ma'am.
N by 2 times. So what is it for n by 2? What is the order here? What is the order we got already? Big O of
Log n.
log n. So for this, we can have this complexity as big O of base 2 log n, which can be literally written as big O of log n. Guys, is that understandable how to find the complexity for each and every algorithm? We can compare with the, that's the reason I given a cumulative of what could be the complexity for each and every algorithm. So by using the particular knowledge, you can able to understand easily here, no need of deriving again. Once you are clear with the complexity of n by 2, n I into 2 or plus 2, all those things, you can able to implement directly. So right now, whenever you people are writing, algorithm have a habit of finding complexity of it, which will make you people to write efficient algorithm. Is this searching clear, guys? Do you have any doubt on it? Come on, respond me.
Clear, ma'am.
Okay, guys.
Okay.